Hello there guys, and welcome to another one of my reviews. Today we are revisiting a special model from BMW, the BMW M850i Convertible. Now the drop top has been launched back in 2018. I had one for testing purposes back in 2019, and I was supposed to have this one earlier this year during the summer, but unfortunately something came up. The pandemic kept us all inside, so we had to postpone this review. But here I am in December doing it for you guys, and I'm going to share some more thoughts on the car compared to my previous review. So what is it? The M850i is the M Performance model in the BMW 8 Series range. The 8 Series was revived by BMW after a 20-year hiatus because the original 8 Series was retired in 1999. So the car came back nearly 20 years later, and it is currently replacing the 6 Series in the BMW range. Now, you might have heard some critics out there say that the new 8 Series is just a 6 Series with a different nameplate. And to be honest, I kind of agree. The car doesn't feel special enough to deserve the 8 Series badge on it. And I'm talking about some things BMW could have done, but they decided not to for some reason. The one thing that annoys me the most about the new 8 Series is that they didn't drop the B pillar in this car. Now, if you remember the original 8 Series, its exterior design was beautiful, and it was made special because it was a real coupe model, because it didn't have the B pillar. Now, the new 8 Series has a B pillar on the coupe model and the Grand Coupe model. On the convertible, it doesn't have one, and that's natural because convertibles usually don't have a B pillar. And I think since the convertible doesn't have one, BMW could have easily made an 8 Series coupe without a B pillar. So why they didn't? They would have kept in touch with the original, to be honest. So that's my main gripe with the exterior design of this car. But other than that, it looks absolutely brilliant. I think it's the best looking car in the BMW range today. It has an aggressive front end that's also kind of stylish and elegant. I don't know how to describe it. It gives off a really interesting vibe depending on the color you go with. If you're going to go with a black or a dark color, it feels very aggressive. If you're going with a blue like this one has on, this is an Atlantis blue model, a BMW individual model, it looks extremely stylish. Even with the M Sport package on this car, because M850i models, being M Performance cars, come with the M Sport package as standard. So you have those huge grills on the sides of the front bumper, which, by the way, they do something. They help keep this engine cool, because this 4.4 liter twin turbo V8 is incredibly hot. As I told you in my BMW X6M competition review. I know it's not the exact same engine, but the issues with the cooling are basically the same. So this car is dressed in Atlantis blue, looks absolutely stunning from any angle. Around the back, you'll notice the new 8 Series design has a lot of creases, a lot of character lines, and so on. In pictures, it doesn't do it justice, because you have to see the car in person to appreciate its 3D design at the back. From the sides, it's aggressive, clear-cut lines, looks absolutely brilliant. Unfortunately, this car has winter tires on, because by the time I got to review it, the weather outside got really cold, so we had to fit winter tires on it. It's riding on 19-inch wheels. The original configuration had 20-inch individual wheels, and they looked absolutely stunning. So inside the cabin, we have another BMW individual element. It's the leather inside this car. It's part of the BMW individual catalog. It's opal white. Looks absolutely stunning. We have the best materials inside everywhere. You have leather on the doors, leather on the steering, on the dash, leather on the steering wheel, of course, leather on the seats, merino leather. Unfortunately, it's white, so it's gonna get dirty over time. We have crystals, we have metal, we have all the best quality materials. There is some plastic, but it's of good quality wherever you touch it, so it feels good to the touch. We also have the crafted clarity option on this car, which means This gear shift knob is made of crystal, along with some other elements throughout the car. It looks absolutely magnificent, very comfortable when you drive it. You get a decent amount of room up front, but since the roof is so sloped towards the back, there isn't a lot of headroom even up front. Now, I'm not the tallest guy in the world. I'm 6 feet tall, but I reckon taller people might have an issue up front. If you're like 7 feet, I know that's rarely the case, but if you're over 6 feet, you might have some issues with the headroom in this car. I won't even mention the rear seats, even though BMW sells this car as a 4-seater. To be honest, there's literally no room in the back. With my seat arranged in my comfortable driving position, I can't see how a human being would fit in the back. I mean, yeah, I could slide my seat forward a bit, and someone could fit in the back, but not comfortably and not for longer trips. The seat backs are also pretty upright, so they are not the most comfortable seats in the world. If you wanna make an effort, yeah, you can carry 4 people, but not for longer trips and not in comfort. So this is basically a 2-seater, like a lot of the cars in this segment, and a lot like the 6 Series before this car. Even though the 8 Series and the 6 Series are pretty long at about 5 meters, close to 5 meters in length. And that makes them not the best driving cars in the city, especially on old European roads and in old European cities. You know, navigating will be trickier than usual, but you can get active integral steering, which means the rear axle can steer as well as the front one, which makes the car a lot more usable, easy to navigate through tiny curvy roads around town. It also helps out when you're parking the car, because the visibility isn't great towards all the extremities of the car. You do have a 360 camera system, which helps out when you're parking, but the integral steering helps you, you know, reduce the number of times you have to go forwards and backwards. Other than that, this car is extremely comfortable. It comes with the adaptive professional M suspension, which means it has adaptive dampers. It has active anti-roll bars. Whenever you're going in sport mode, the car stiffens up, the suspension stiffens up, the steering stiffens up, the gearbox keeps the revs higher, and the throttle response is nearly instant. I mean, there is a tiny bit of lag, but this car just sets off whenever you press the gas pedal. Feels really sporty. It keeps its weight under control brilliantly, and I think a lot of the credit also goes to the integral steering. It helps corner like a crazy fast train. It feels really good. I know this cliche is used all the time, the car on rails cliche, but I mean, yeah, you can feel the weight of the car. It's not a sports car, it's a GT, but it does keep itself composed really well. And you can oversteer with your right foot if you wanted to, even though it's an all-wheel drive car, because the M850i can only be had in all-wheel drive guise. So even though it's an all-wheel drive car, it does swing its rear end quite easily, to be honest, because it has a lot of power. And you know, BMW X-Drive is always, I mean, on rear-wheel drive cars, is always set up to send more power to the rear axle. Speaking of power, we have 530 horsepower and 750 Newton meters of torque at our disposal in this car. It's the same amount of torque the M8 has, but you know, 70 horsepower less. So this is a fast car. It will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour from standstill in 3.9 seconds, according to BMW. Independent tests have shown that it's actually faster in certain conditions. Car and Driver from the US tested it, and it did a 3.5 and a 0.99 G on the 8-figure core. So it has a lot of lateral grip as well. So yeah, it's a great driving car, but I don't think that's the point. I think this is more of a GT car. It's meant to be driven, you know, seamlessly. I have my driving assistant turned on right now. So it keeps me in lane. Brakes, whenever the car in front brakes, and it does everything for me. I just can't take my hands completely off the steering wheel for more than 10 seconds. But other than that, the car does it all. It can receive over-the-air updates which bring Android Auto to the system, to the iDrive system, and other features, which is a nice touch as well. So this car is meant to be driven, you know, when you're going on a trip in the south of France and so on. It's a GT by excellence. I wouldn't call it a sports car. And comparing it to a Porsche 911 is a wrong move, if you ask me, because that's a much smaller car, a much lighter car, and so on. The only rivals this car has, I mean, there's only one in this exact same price bracket. You know, it would be the S-Class, convertible, of course. They have roughly similar prices. The BMW is a bit cheaper, but there's also pre-owned Bentley GTs in this price tag. And that's, in my book, I think that's a more appealing car. I mean, both of them will be really expensive to run anyway. So, you know, you get the Bentley badge compared to a BMW badge for 156,000 euros, as much as this car costs. This isn't even full option. I mean, yeah, you do pay extra for the individual paint, you do pay extra for the individual leather and the seats inside, you do pay extra for the Bowers & Wilkins sound system, which is brilliant, by the way. Deserves every single penny. It's a 4,000 euro option, but it's worth it, because on convertibles you do need the best sound system you can get. So, you know, at 156,000 euros, it's quite expensive, but it's a great car. And if you get a good deal for it, just buy it. It attracts a lot of looks, especially with this color. Looks great, feels great. I don't know what more you could ask for. Maybe for a smaller price tag, I guess. So that said, this has been my second review of the BMW M850i Convertible. If you want to check the original, you can go ahead and check it on the channel. It's a brilliant GT car. I loved it. The sound is amazing, the speed is amazing, the comfort is amazing, the looks are amazing, materials are amazing. I really can't complain about anything. I know that might be disappointing, but it's really a brilliant car. Until next time, don't forget to like, share, and of course subscribe to keep this channel alive. See you guys next time. Ciao.